Welcome back, most esteemed viewers. My name is Jekyllstein Gray, and today we are continuing our playthrough of Betweenside. And I'm gonna turn my lights. Man, I love these blackout curtains I've got. Let's see here. What is this? To my dearest Uncle Vincent, I hope you are well. We just returned from India. You just returned from India, I hear. We must meet to discuss how the company is doing. The business of ivory truly fascinates me. Since the passing of poor Mama, I have found myself in difficulties. In my state of mourning, I may have accidentally taken on a debt with a cad. Next month I shall have... So, is a cad a loan shark? Next month I shall have his money. However, he refuses to listen to reason and wait. Could I impose on you a loan of £10? I shall reimburse you in full by the 14th or the 26th. Mother would have surely assisted me. Alas, my obstinate sister Frances, who will not speak to me on matters of speculation, has control of my inheritance. Your loving and affectionate nephew, James. So this seems a bit fraudulent. When Vincent Trezilian's service was concluded, he could exploit the colonies for personal gain. Not the Empire's. Oh wow, that's the problem. Personal gain is the problem, not the exploiting. Not the Empire's. He exported many treasures at great profit, but it was ivory that became his enduring trade. The company was now left to his niece and nephews. He hoped his favorite would be the one to rise to the top, cast down their siblings, and forge the family business in the manner they saw fit. That, however, is a legal matter for another day. Which one was his favorite? Some of the ivory pieces are carved into ornate forms. Others are plain or merely inscribed with omens kept at bay with small acts of cruelty. Huh. We're going to leave him to the younger nephew. Let's light that candle because reasons. Hopefully the darkness isn't too mad at us. My sole friend in boarding school and I sat in the refectory. Would you rather, the boy said, die from being shot in the bum or stabbed in the eye? I said, I would rather die from being, a painting of a Jack Russell. You assume it must be Clerval. Oh, man. For those of you who don't know, Clerval is a character that gets written out of a lot of, is a character in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein that gets left out of, like, almost all the adaptations, which is a damn shame, because he's an awesome character. Through his life, he got 9 dogs. The first, when he was a child, they were the only companions his parents let him show affection towards. Wow. That's depressing. Also, insert John Oliver British repression joke here. The first one, let's see. Learned to keep his heart. So he learned to keep his heart hidden to those except his animals, trusting them to bear his soul. Yeah. Let's see. Um. Why does it say who reminded him of the mother? I think they messed up writing the pronouns. Yeah. Can't see my reflection. Totally not a vampire. Let's see here. My career serving our queen was not always spent in foreign fields. For a time I barracked in London, where my duties consisted of such great affairs as guarding the royal parks at night. For a soldier of discretion, it was a quiet placement. Those that used the parks for their furtive liaisons were no risk to us, despite what some would believe. A few soldiers were dismissed during my time there, having fallen foul of a moral danger. I was a soldier of discretion. Live with the pain. A valuable collection of tomes amassed by one unafraid of prescribed knowledge. Two appear to be better tended to, both written under the pseudonym Woolstone. Okay, there are so many allusions to Gothic fiction and Gothic writers here. Esteemed viewers know. For those of you who don't know, Mary Wollstonecraft was Mary Shelley's mother, and was a early feminist writer. She was awesome. Vaulted Forest, let's read about Forgotten Villages. Some places we remember. Despite our wish to forget, yet many are forgotten when there is need to pay witness. Few miss the village of Ibecombe, where the men did sing in unseemly tones. Every summer solstice they would dance until their feet were wet with the blood the now muddied ground craved. Then there was Nettlecote, where the children were taught only to obey their mothers, and, when their teeth came through, would defy God to consume the fathers who had yet to escape their chains. All these places gone, their quaint traditions lost to the indifference of time, warnings unheeded on what good people must sacrifice to dwell on malignant land. Again, so that's very Ozymandias-y. Give him to the younger nephew. I'm counting on you to read to start the revolution, dude. Vincent, tell me a horror story, Alphonse said. We were sitting alone under the pine dock trees. I held him close. Once upon a time, I said, there was... Yeah, I guess that's it alright. Clerval had been a loyal dog before he died, and Vincent withdrew from the world outside. Oh no. Neither dog nor owner were of an emotional temperament. Vincent had learned long ago to never let the inside out. Yet when one of his animals passed, he could not stop from weeping. And that's one of the few places where they have no choice. And now things are dark again. I don't know why I'm singing that. And Jekyllstein, way to ruin the tone, Jekyllstein. What are these white dots? Wait, what is that? What the hell? Oh. Stabbed in the eye while fighting the state. That's what I wrote. Freaky. Where did that figure go? That is one thing I do not know. Whoa! Oh, that's a spider. Aunt Mary stared into the mirror. Her reflection smiled. She did not. What do you see, Auntie? Do you see the spire roots of the Farnever? Do you feel the august wind on your spine? Do you hear the Tritoni cry? Mary shook her head. No, she said. I see black mold and tasteless furniture. I hear the normal wind seeping through your porous roof, and I feel these rotten floorboards sinking beneath my feet. Thank you, Auntie. Anne once again pondered the room, the soot-stained fireplace above which hung the portrait of her grandfather. Her felt-topped desk nigh collapsed under the weight of her writings. She had lived in this house too long, perhaps. Her childhood imaginings had seeped into superstition. Downstairs she could hear her son weeping. Anne grasped the rusted key, its sickly blood scent seeping into her flesh. She moved to finally unlock the door, then hesitated. Auntie, she asked, how did you get in? Anne turned her head and the human shape was gone. In the distance she could hear arterial drums. Was that arteries? Like, is it like her blood pumping? Or is it like, is it like her blood pumping or something else? Like, is it like artillery? You're retiring, sir? The young soldier asked. He regarded me as something of a mentor. I nodded. You'll be fine, I said. Just remember... You stand to the surface of the mirror. Curiously, you can't see your own reflection. Yeah, 'cause I'm a vampire. It may be too dark. You have the strangest feeling, though, as if you are seeing something improbably far away. Indeed, the more you look, the more dissimilarities you see. The painting there is not so crooked here. The bottle does not exist in this mirror world. Perhaps that is the real world, and this the mirror. And it is I who do not exist, you think. But if I don't exist, how can I feel dread flood my every pore? It was the cruelest trick of a capricious god to create such creature that feels pain but not empathy. You blink. What silly tricks your mind plays, alone in the dark, you hope. Let's see. Give him to the youngest nephew. So they do acknowledge that the weirdness of the mirror. The History of My Family by Honora Dosmeri Tresillian Nie Tresillian. I met my grandfather, Thomas Tresillian, only once. He was a stern man with a forceful presence and worried temperament. Thomas disapproved of my mother, blaming her for the loss of my father because he could not blame himself. The air of death that surrounded him is perhaps why my mother took me abroad, not knowing that I would find my way back to the family through my distant cousin Walter. My family's legacy is one that... This is obviously a fantasy. I don't think many aristocrats would have thought of it that way. For a while, when Vincent was young, Venetian masked balls were all the rage in London. This mask allowed him to be braver than he was, do things he would be otherwise afraid to do. He could be dissociated from his own actions, safeguarded from himself. It feels so very light in your hands as you pick it up. You bring it to your face, and through its empty eyes, everything looks different. The dark not frightening, but a place to hide. The night, a time of wonder. I know, I love the night. Do not feel, just do. Do not waste your time caring for others. Care only for yourself, and others will do likewise. That is something I don't like. Anger flows through you. Yes, it all makes sense now. How long have you held yourself back by caring what others thought? What others felt, what pain they suffered. There is no morality, only you. Take your humanity, kill it. Then there will be only this, the pure expression of fear, and nothing else. The mask falls. The mask falls from your face as your fingers go numb. A tear runs down your cheek. Your other hand picks up the mask and puts it carefully back in its place. You rub your numb hand, trying in vain to get the blood flowing. It can move, but it can no longer feel. It is a dead thing animated, capable of acting, but with no purpose or hope in doing so. God, you need a holiday. British people calling vacations holidays is still weird to me. Yes, you must not absolve yourself of your own actions. It's amazing how people on the right are always like, you need to take responsibility for your actions. And also, every time someone does something bad, who has power, we're gonna absolve them. The cutting rain stung my face. I wiped the water from my eyes and continued on. It was a dark and deafening evening. Through the noise, I made out a rider approaching. As the horse came alongside, I asked, "Where am I?" The traveler shook his head. I don't know. I'm just shooting stuff out there. The young man, Vincent, kept strict schedule. Drill at 6:40. Inspection at 8:12. Raid at 23:47. After leaving the Empire's service, precision timekeeping remained critical. Meeting at 11:43. Mercenary affair at 13:12. Soiree at 18:30 sharp. When at last he retired, Vincent wanted nothing more to do with clocks. They reminded him of his own mortality, his expended opportunities, his soul-sucking obligations. Yet he was still a gentleman, the head of a respected house. Vincent had to entertain guests, and no matter how tedious, be entertained. Thus a concession to civility was made. A single clock facing towards the wall, only to be turned around on days where it was an absolute necessity. It was custom-made with an exquisitely decorated back and simple utilitarian face, much like a railway clock. Not the usual timepiece of a noble sir. Perhaps one of his relatives will find more use in it than he did. Let's see. Yeah, let's give it to the elder nephew. He could use a reminder of his own mortality. And now there are 2 figures. That's cool. Whoa. Raven statue. Darkness chilled, nothing, non-alcoholic. I love this, the idea of this mechanic. Welcome to UR Station. Oh, they thought it read that as the place I visited. The problem is it doesn't seem to the problem is it stabbed in the eye while fighting the state. It doesn't seem to. Sometimes you can't. This is one of the problems with typing things in and choosing specific words. Is sometimes there will be the game will misinterpret what you're saying, but not a big deal. What do you want it? Just over there, my caretaker replied. The 2 men carried the desk next to the window and set it down. Bidding me not a word, the caretaker removed them and himself from my chamber. I locked myself within the room. Gathering together some blank paper, I sat down on the desk to begin my work. I laid a page out in front of me and wrote, "The history of my..." I winced from the window as a ray of light blinded me. I didn't see the light till I became a man, and by then it was blinding. Placing down my pen, I stood from my chair. With great strain, I dragged my dresser from the wall and moved the desk where it once was, out of sight of the window. My dresser I placed where my desk had once been. I sat down once more to write. Esteemed... Let's just change that to a V and say esteemed viewers. A nauseous pain had trickled down my spine and slowly consumed me. How foolish I had been. Now my back had failed and no work would get done today. I don't have long. There was no time for this dallying. Hunched and defeated, I retired again to bed. I nibbled crumbs of a half-eaten cucumber sandwich to try and get this retching sickness to pass. It was dry and without taste. I stared for a while at the door. The caretaker would not return until it was time to bring me dinner. Perhaps, if I recovered enough, I could write him a note. See if I could procure some morphine to aid me through my pain. That's not a good idea. There was nothing left to do but to close my eyes and hope that through stillness alone I might conquer this foe. The rest of the day was a painful blur. I wrote the note and managed to eat my evening meal and almost accomplished sleep. A figure observed me as I tried to deceive myself to rest. It is not yet time, I said. I merely watched, its convulsing form betraying no response. In the morning, the caretaker finally brought my morphine. Family, I wrote at last. I gave the Y a strong flourish to complete my triumph. The history of my esteemed family. Esteemed. You viewers are my esteemed family. Of course, I actually have literal family too, but yeah. I was yet to write the first sentence and I already had lied. Yeah, seriously. Seriously. That's like the symbol of the game, I think. Let's see here. I want to go check out. There was a. So you've got the picture, the Nevermore Raven. And here we have. I'm gonna. Let's see. Gonna screenshot that so I can use it. What was I? I'm gonna screenshot that so I can I can use it if I don't find a better thumbnail that's auto-generated by YouTube. Anyway, also, esteemed viewers, just want to point out, just want to note that I actually this is actually past where I played before, so this is all new for me. I sat on the floor, my back to a wall, gripping a piece of crumpled paper. "Vincent, what's wrong?" Alphonse asked. "I'm going," I replied. "I can come with you wherever this is." "No," I said, "we won't see each other again." I looked at Alphonse, but could barely see him through the tears. He was just a shifting smudge in the form of a man. Kind of reminds me of the figures outside. We'll see if that goes anywhere. Alphonse looked around. "Where are your works?" he said, but I stuffed the paper into my coat pocket and left. Live with the pain. An aging piece of paper containing a simple composition. "You are no expert, but the melody seems well constructed. It bears the signature of Vincent Tresillian. This must have been from his younger days, where he tried to challenge his course. His compositions were supposed to have been burnt with his independence. It seems that scrap survived." Okay, I'm getting notifications from a Teams meeting that actually. Oh wow! Let's see. You know what? Screw it. I can miss one of them, and this is also technically for school, so yeah. Actually, how long has this been going for, though? It's been going for a while. Almost a half hour. You know what? Yeah, I'll actually stop this here. Well, once I finish this, I'll wrap this up. You know what? We're gonna publish it. I also like how that's actually an option. Alrighty. So, oh wow. The unmarried nephew gets like so much stuff. Continue, options, quit, and associates. Family law. Alright, so I actually, 4 minutes ago. Okay, now we're actually gonna go to the next save. The next time we save. I don't want to click on that because it might. Ooh, that's pretty. My father examined the trophy. His face betrayed no expression. He read the inscription, then placed it back on the mantelpiece and returned to his rocking chair. "There's a churn-up," he said. "Never would have taken you for a sportsman. It was summer holidays, and I was home from boarding school. Father would have disapproved of how I really won that trophy. It certainly wasn't by being good at strenuous physical activity." The end. A painting by a respected London artist, commissioned by Vincent's grandfather Samuel before he disappeared. It depicts the Tresillians' ancestral country of Cornwall, but not as you saw it from the train, but from before the blemish of smog and industry, before England got taken over by the dark satanic mills. Vincent had little time for modernity. His family relied on the old ways, not the new, and if the price was just as great, it was at least taken with decorum. It was left to the younger nephew to remind him where he is from and where he will return. Let's give it to the younger nephew. Look, I like the younger nephew, okay? What's this? Vincent, I am aware that you asked me to not to look into this further. However, the well-being of your business is not wholly your burden. It concerns the whole family. The accounts you have been furnished with do not tally with the production figures and the price of the ivory. Either your people are selling your goods at a fraction of their worth, in which case they are incompetent, or they are defrauding you. Either way, it is imperative that action is taken. If you do not feel well enough to resolve this matter, then I ask you to vest me with the authority to do so myself. Your affectionate niece, Frances. So Frances is the niece. Vincent secretly adored music. It was one of his few surviving passions. His love of song was not always so private. In boarding school, the flute was his solitary vice. Vincent's young military career was defined by abrasive silence, waiting days or weeks between orders. In the grinding dark forts, he sustained delight by escaping to his inner world. He would imagine himself playing the melodies he knew, and when he ran out, he began to think of new ones. While injured, he began to write them down. It kind of reminds me of World War I, yes, but J.R.R. Tolkien writing the stuff in World War I. For 3 months, he convalesced in London. Then he met a young artist called Alphonse, so that's who he was talking to earlier, I guess, and took up lodgings with him. Vincent was encouraged by his new partner to hone his craft. He had a natural improvisational talent in composition. The next Schubert, Alphonse called him. Vincent resigned his commission with the military to pursue a life of art. He could survive on the money he had until he found success. 2 weeks after his discharge, a letter arrived from Anne Tresillian, Vincent's mother. She explained that his father was displeased and his allowance was to be stopped until such time as he regained his senses. Vincent replied to plead his case, but his mother never answered. Okay, I actually like this as a false choice because it's tied in with Vincent's powerlessness, you know. It's not just it is the designer's not wanting to make too many branching choices for very understandable reasons, but it's also he can leave, but then he's gonna be, you know, people are going to force him back in. I don't know. I like it. Vincent re-enlisted. His superior officer, a friend of the family, saw his previous resignation expunged from the files. His military record made flaws. You can just do that because it's all made up, I guess. He parted with Alphonse and made sure he would never seek him again. The photograph appears worn from near constant use. You try to turn it on, but it will not. Cranking it doesn't help and you give up. You are sure you heard it play not long ago. Still, it seems to be in serviceable condition, and a professional could no doubt see it working. Let's see. We'll give it to this one to the niece. Alrighty. Alcohol. The cause of and solution to all of life's problems. Like and subscribe if you got that reference. Oh, I gotta type it. I don't know. I'm just thinking. Oh man, depending on as of this recording, the election is still uncalled, and I'm just like, ugh. And I've only drinking sips of alcohol, and I don't like the taste. I don't really, but man, if I could drink so much I could just forget everything, on some level I would want that. That's really dark, I know. Also, I should have capitalized Disco Elysium. I love it how it's just like, okay, type stuff, right, Let's see. That's like my equivalent of supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Like, you just, you just type Ozymandias so you don't have anything else to say. Bottle of the finest brandy this side of the Garonne. It is sorely tempting on this long, dark, and bitter evening. Yeah, we're gonna refrain from drinking the brandy. It would be improper for an attorney to take such liberties. Nonetheless, you pick up the bottle and examine it. Light refracts from it in a captivating way through the mottled glass and oak-stained liquor. You hold it to the light of the chandelier, and for just a second you think you can see something past the bottle. A vast spider under a blood moon. Cool. You blink and the vision is gone. By the time you place the bottle back on the table, you have forgotten what it was that made you feel such dread. Second-hand brandy, even of good provenance, is of little monetary value. It may still serve as a pleasant surprise for someone. Let's see. Yeah, let's give it to the caretaker. Hey, I got an achievement. Wild. Oscar Wilde. I think that's what it's a reference to. Alright, I'm just going to go until the next autosave, esteemed viewers. Upon Vincent's bedsheets rests a gentle rose. There is no other indication of where it came from. The caretaker did not seem sentimental nor close enough to Mr. Tressilian to leave it. Sidney, Francis, and James, his only close relatives, are in London awaiting your return. For the past few years, he had not even left this chamber. He knew few people. He knew few people outside the context of work or family. Vincent never had a wife nor children of his own, though he bore great affection towards his sisters, particularly after she passed. Even at a young age, he refused to play the suitor. Vincent was a strapping young man, yet he never married, nor as far as his peers knew, ever pursued a relationship. Some muttered that he saw himself above such things. He could be asexual, guys, or aromantic. Vincent would have said he had little interest in sexuality, but he was not above a bit of romance. So, like, it seems like he just straight up is asexual. Which, is a neutral thing. So now there are 3 ghostly figures, and night is falling. Well, let's see. Is there anything else to interact with? Amnesia. Well, there's the sword, I guess. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Your only option is to fight. You grab the sword with the metallic cord, slip it from the wall. It sings in greeting. The figures close in, and the music gets louder. Stay back! You shout. They continue their advance. I didn't realize I was choosing between fight or flight. You strike at one as it nears, then swish around and hit another. Swoosh, wish, strike after strike until you feel something grab your wrist, immobilizing your sword arm. No! No! No, you shout as you try to wrest yourself free. Something strikes you flat across the ground. The face, against the face, and you fall to the ground. The sword flies from your hand. You look up, the fingers are gone. The door ajar. Above you stands the elderly caretaker. I said you should have waited till morning. You stare at the man. Alone in the dark, you see, the caretaker says. Mind plays tricks on you. It makes you see things that aren't really there. This place creeps even me out. You nod. How absurd you have been. You must have fallen asleep, confused dream with reality. How absurd. It must have been a dream. Before you leave, you recall that you were going to gift the brandy to the caretaker. He decides after that he can forego telling the family or your employers of the incident. You thank him and take the next train back to London. You want to be in your own lodgings. You want to rest. Only the niece objected to Vincent's final composition being published. Critics commented that it showed great talent, never refined. A tragedy not to have been encouraged. The younger nephew would take over. Oh, so is this the end? Is this the end? Younger nephew would take over responsibility for the Imperial Ivory Corporation. It was obvious from Vincent's will that Sidney L.T. Lansdale, his younger nephew, was his favorite. With a guile few knew he possessed, he came to lead the company and family. Once patriarch, he set about dismantling their family's world, their business, their property gone. His siblings watched in shock as he demolished everything that gave them status, abandoning their last wealth with reparations and repayment. Oh, no! Nearly 20 years later, the family was without worth. It lost all standing. Sidney lived in a small cottage outside London with a wife, 2 daughters, and a son raised not of the family tradition. As far as the younger nephew was concerned, the family's debts were concluded. Oh! Wait, end of Act 1. Oh, what? Okay. There will now be a short intermission. Alright. That is a good place to stop for now, esteemed viewers. I think. So there's some curtains closing. That felt like the end. Interesting. So, alright, pressing escape doesn't seem to do anything. Oh! Alright, so now it looks like we're in a theater. Alright, esteemed viewers. Thank you for watching. I have been Jekyllstein. Let's let the sound continue. Sorry about the notification noises. I'm probably gonna start Act 2 like later today. Maybe like really soon. So if you want to be notified when that happens, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell. If you like the video, give it a like. If you have something to say, give me a comment. All those are really appreciated. Let's see. Let's see. Share it with anyone you think would like it. Twitter, Letterboxd, and a link to where you can find this game will be in the description below. Alright, esteemed viewers, I have been Jekyllstein, and I'll see you in another video. Bye-bye.